Hey guys, this is Mrs. Harbin, and this is section 5.5. We are going to continue to look at relations and functions. So given the domain -1, 0, 2, and 5, let's write a set of ordered pairs to represent the equation y equals 4x. Now we've been doing this for several lessons, so we're going to create our little t-chart here. Oh, let me back up and not reveal the answer right away. We are going to create our t-chart. Make sure I can write. Where we write x values in the first column. So we would write -1, 0, 2, and 5. We write our function rule here in the middle, y equals 4x. And then we'll get our y coordinate here on the other side. And then we're going to plug in our values of x and plug in chug. So y equals 4 times, we're going to use parentheses to substitute, -1. Y equals 4 times, use parentheses to substitute 0. Y equals 4 times, use parentheses to substitute 2, and y equals 4 times, use parentheses to substitute 5. When we simplify that, 4 times -1, we see that y equals -4. 4 times 0 is 0, 4 times 2 is 8, and 4 times 5 is 20. And so our ordered pairs become -1, -4, 0, 0, 2, 8, and 5, 20. What about when y equals x plus 4? We would do the exact same thing. We would create our chart. We have our x values here on the left, -1, 0, 2, and 5. We have our function rule in the middle, y equals x plus 4, and we have our y column here on the right. And then we will substitute, and I'm not going to do all of these this time, but we would substitute again using parentheses. So parentheses -1 plus 4. We would do that for each of our domains, and when we simplify this first one at least, we get y equals -1 plus 4, which is just y equals 3. When we do that for all of those domain values, the ordered pairs that we get are -1, 3, 0, 4, 2, 6, and 5, 9. Okay, again, we would follow the exact same procedures. Try this one on your own. See if you can figure out the ordered pairs. Pause this video and then come back and check your work. Okay, hopefully you remember to create a chart, x on the left column, your function rule in the middle, and y on the right column. And when you plugged in each of those values, protecting your negative signs by substituting using parentheses, you get -1, 6, 0, 0, 2, -12, and 5, -30. All right, here's another one. The steps are the same here, but given this domain, write a set of ordered pairs. Try this one on your own. Pause the video, come back and check your work. And when you've made your t-chart and you've plugged in all of those things, hopefully you found that your ordered pairs are -1, -7, 0, -6, 2, -4, and 5, -1. All right, one more, hopefully. There's a lot of lesson opener here. This one's a little bit trickier, not because it's hard, but because you do need to remember your order of operations. So we'll do the first one at least. So we have our x column here on the left. We have our function rule here in the middle, 4x plus 6. And then we will plug and chug to get the value of our y. What does y equal? When we substitute in, we're going to use parentheses. So 4 times -1. Plus 6, and then we're going to use our order of operations. So we're going to take 4 times -1, which is -4, plus 6. -4 plus 6 is actually 2. So don't forget your order of operations. When we do that for all of the values, we get -1, 2, 0, 6, 2, 14, and 5, 26. Our biblical integration continues to be about relationships, and just like we're studying the relationships between two different things in our mathematical modeling with relations and functions, we want to encourage you to be in relationships that help to make sure that you are walking the way that you should walk in your relationship with other Christians and in accordance with God's Word. Our lesson objective for today is that you, the student, will represent a given function rule with a set of ordered pairs, table, graph, and mapping diagram. And you, the student, will use a function rule to describe a real-life application. Now, you're already able to do the first piece of information. That's what we just did during the lesson opener. You represented a given function rule with a set of ordered pairs. I drew a table, and so you saw how to represent that using a table. We are going to make sure you know how to graph it, how to use a mapping diagram as well, And the last thing that we're going to do is let you determine the function rule. Up until this point, I've been giving you the function rule and you've plugged and chugged. You're going to have to work backwards now to determine what my function rule is. When we talk about the function machine, basically what we're talking about is that plug and chug machine. Values are chosen for x, they are put into the function rule or the machine, they are manipulated by the function rule, that's the plug and chug, and they put out a corresponding y value. When we were doing our charts with x on the left and our function rule in the middle and our y on the right, that's what we were doing. We were inputting an x into the function machine, we plugged it in here and let it do its work, plugged and chugged, and we got a y value that came out. Remember, our x values are called our domain, and our y values are called the range. A function rule is an equation that pairs each member of the domain with an element of the range. So I've been calling them function rules this whole time. So they are function rules, they're equations that pair each x with its own y. If a function rule and the domain are given, then the entire function is defined and can be listed as a set, written as a table, graphed as particular points in the Cartesian plane, or illustrated with a mapping diagram. That's only if the domain is actually given. So let's try one. The domain in this particular problem is -3, -1, 0, 2, and 4. And the rule is f of x equals 3x plus 2. In order to solve this, we would, again, make a table here, a t-chart. We would make our first column with our x, our middle column with our function rule, which in this case is 3x plus 2. And our final column would be the y, or the range value that we're going to get when we plug and chug. We want to represent this information in 4 different ways: as a table, as a set of ordered pairs, as a graph, and as a mapping diagram. Right, as a table, this is what you've seen. The domain is given, so we will write each of those values here. We'll plug it into the function rule, and when we plug and chug, we get that our y value, or our f of x, equals -7. Remember from a previous lesson that y is the same thing as f of x. Y is a function of x. When we plug in the given value of -1, we get -1. When we plug in the given value of 0, we get 2. And when we plug in the given value of 2, we get 8. Finally, when we plug in the given value of 4, we get 14. So this table represents our ordered pairs. We can also write it as a set of ordered pairs, where our function equals these ordered pairs. We can graph it by graphing each of the points here on our Cartesian plane. Now we are not going to draw a line. Why are we not going to draw a line? We only draw lines when we're not given a specific domain. We're just given specific points, so we need to graph specific points. We're given specific x values, so graph those specific points. We can also represent this data using a mapping diagram. Don't forget, in a mapping diagram, all of our x values go on the left, all of our y values go on the right, and we connect our x values to the corresponding y values. We can tell this is a function because no x values are repeated. Let's try graphing the function y equals the absolute value of x. Well, no domain is given. We didn't get any x values. What does that mean? That means we get to choose our own, and we want to choose x values that are going to be easy to calculate. So let's pick -3, -1, 0, 1, 2, and 5. We'll plug each of those into the function, which I've been kind of clicking through very quickly. So when we plug in -3, we get the absolute value of -3, which is just 3. So our y value is 3. When we plug in -1, we get 1, so forth and so on. So now that we've used the table to generate some x and y coordinates from our function machine, let's go ahead and plot these points. So there are our points once again, and when we plot the specific points, we get this shape. Now in the original problem, they didn't give us a domain. We just had to pick our own. And so what we're going to do is connect those dots. Because we were not given a specific domain, we've got to connect the dots to show that any value will follow this line. So I could plug in x equals -2, and I get a 2. If I plug in x equals -5, I get a positive 5y. So these lines show us that any values that we would pick on this line would work. Now, finding a function rule can be a little bit harder, but you can often determine how a y-coordinate is related to its x-coordinate by examining a table of ordered pairs. So let's take a look at example 3, which is in the book. What you should notice is that as the values for x increase by 1, the values for y increase by 3. That means that each y value is 3 times the corresponding x value. So our function rule must be f of x equals 3 of x. I don't have the book right here in front of me, and you may not have yours as well, so let's make up a rule here. Let's say that you are looking at these values. 1, 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. And you notice, okay, my x values are increasing by 1, 1, 1, 1, 1. But when I look at my y values, it's going 0, 3, 6, 9, 12, 15. So, this is increasing by 3 each time. This is only increasing by 1 each time. That tells me my y's are 3 times my x's, 3x. What about the phone plans problem on page 212? Hopefully you're looking at that problem, and you'll see that Plan A costs $47 a month with unlimited minutes. Plan B costs $28 a month with a fee of 0.04 cents a minute. Right, so in our first plan, it was what we call a flat fee, $47, no matter how many minutes you talked. Plan B is $28 a month, but there's also this fee of 4 cents for every minute that you talk. And we're going to graph both functions on the same Cartesian plane. We're going to see which one is the better deal. So we'll find the cost of 480 minutes for each plan and compare. Let's just use 480 minutes. Well, in the first function, when we plug in a of x equals 47 and we plugged in 480, didn't matter because plan A is always 47. And for plan B, when we plugged in 480 minutes, we get 28 plus 4 cents a minute, so 4 cents times 480 minutes. When we add that together, we get $47.20. So plan B was actually a little bit more expensive by 20 cents. All right, there are our two functions again. Plan A is slightly less expensive for 480 minutes by 20 cents. But if we went under 480 minutes, what if we'd only used 30 minutes or 300 minutes? If that were the case, then Plan B would be the cheaper plan. So really, what phone plan we decide to use depends on the number of minutes we're going to talk, if that's part of the rate. All right, from the graph in your book, you can see that the two plans intersect at 475 minutes. That means that at 475 minutes, they are exactly the same. So Plan A is less expensive if she talks more than 475 minutes. If she talks less than 475 minutes a month, then Plan B would be the least expensive. Hopefully you had your book in front of you so you can see that. If not, when you get to school, make sure you grab your book and you look at that example so you can see what it is that I'm talking about. Today we represented a given function rule with a set of ordered pairs, with a table, with a graph, and with a mapping diagram. We also used a function rule to describe real-life applications. If you guys have any questions, be sure to ask me next class.